Right, good evening, folks. Hopefully you can hear me. Yes, I've got a display showing a microphone working, so hopefully that all comes through. Right, thanks, folks, for actually joining me on this. This is all going to be a very rough and ready. The purpose of it is I just want to test out the system to try and iron out those glitches that I had on Sunday. So hopefully it's all going to work and it'll be just a fun hour or so while I do some photography and you're able to watch. If it doesn't work, then there's some problem solving to do. So hopefully it'll all work. Right, let me just explain the setup I've got here. If I'm right, you should be seeing me up in the top left corner of the window of the screen. The bottom part of the screen, if I stand up, I've got to duck down when I stand up, is from the camera feed here, which is just looking at my tabletop over here, so that you can see what I've got set up on there. This was the bit that threw me on Sunday, having the two cameras going. So hopefully, yeah, is live. You can see my hand in there. The other window is part of Lightroom. I can go to a full Lightroom display like that, and I will no doubt do that at some point, or even lose me on there if I need to. But that's going to be my standard display for the evening, so that you can see the full setup as I'm putting lights in and doing things like that. And so you can see closely what's on the table, and then the other part, which is, I can't do this. I'm trying to work out which way I need to point. So that's it. So as far as you're concerned, that other window just over there is the result of each shot. So I'm going to do some tabletop work. I've not even planned out how I'm going to light this or exactly what I'm going to do. And one of the reasons I decided not to plan it too much was A, I didn't know the whole thing was going to work. B, I didn't think there'd be people turning up to actually watch it. So I'm absolutely amazed that there's either 8 or 9 of you watching at the moment. So, few extra people. Evening, Stuart. Hi, Rick, on there. And at this point, now Rick's on, I want to just give a very big shout out and thanks to Rick, who is actually the person who's enabled this to happen. The problems we had on Sunday appeared to be mainly to do with the fact that I was using an unpowered hub, and having too many things attached to it was drawing too much power, and it just caused the whole thing to fall over like a deck of cards. Rick has given me a powered hub. I'm very, very grateful for that, and that appears to be working fine. Not only is it coping with the two cameras, but I also have, cable's not long enough, if you can see, the control deck for Lightroom on there, and I even have my controller for video editing attached to it as well. And I decided I'd leave them in. I want to try and break the system tonight, or rather, I don't want to break the system, but I want to load it up as much as I can to see what's going on. Oh, hi Kev. Hi Kev, thanks for joining us. Yeah, the other thing to say is I've no idea how long I'm going to be online for with this. How long's a piece of string when you're doing a photo shoot? If you get bored, don't feel obliged to carry on watching. Just say bye and log off. I honestly won't be offended on that. So, right, let me have a look and try and work out what I'm going to shoot. I'm going to start off with something fairly straightforward. I've got I've got my Doctor Who figurines. I've also got some Spider-Man related figurines as well, so we might go on to those later. But over here I've got a Cyberman, which I thought might make an interesting shot to start with. Now, I'm going to power up my camera. I need to get Lightroom into tethered mode. So let me go over to a different screen so that you can see me do that. So File, Tethering, Tethered Capture, Start Tethered Capture. Hey, it's put the actual dialog box on the right screen for once. Normally when I do this with a video, it puts it on the wrong screen. I've already set up the name for it and the naming standard for it. I've told it where to file them and the metadata, my standard studio metadata. So with that, I say OK, and then it should pop up with a little box saying the camera on there. And so now I should be able to just take a shot and it will appear on the screen for you. So if I go back to this setup where we can see everything, I'll leave that right at the top of the screen for you so that you can see my settings as I'm working. All right, let me just focus this in on the Cyberman. And what I'm doing to start with, no flash, I just want to take a shot under standard studio settings with no flash, just to see how much ambient light's going to affect this. Also, just to check the whole thing's working. So let's take a shot. I can press the button, and dum 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 dum. We have no photo. Hang on, it's getting there. It's getting there, and it's beautifully dark, and that doesn't look quite what I was expecting on there. Oh, very close in. Yes, right, I know, I see why. Yep, that's the image. I'm going to move this, move the window down to the bottom so it's easier to see what we've got up at the top there. So yeah, we've got a bit of ambient light in there, mainly because I've got the video lights switched on, but it's not enough for me to worry about for this. If I was doing this as a commercial shoot, I would probably have those, well, I would have those turned off, and that would be pure black, but I'm going to leave them on so that you can see what's going on. Let me just keep an eye on the chat. Yeah, nothing on that. Now, the first thing I see on that shot, other than the fact that it's dark, is the height of the camera. So let me, first of all, let's get some light on it. I'm going to need to drop the camera as well. So how am I going to light it? Well, I've got a studio light over here, and I'm probably going to end up using that just to fill a bit of light in, but I don't want that to be my main light. I want a dramatic image on here. So I'm going to use a speed light to sort of backlight this, I think. I'll turn him around that sort of way. And if I bring light in across here, that should be nice lighting across the body of it. So let's turn on. Hopefully I've got some battery power on here. Yep. I need a trigger. That on. And I've got it set at the moment to, I don't know whether you can see that on there, 1/128th of a second. So that'll do as a starting point on there. Let me check to see this fires. The trigger fires, but the flash doesn't. Of course, it helps if I put the trigger on the right way round. So that goes, right. So I'm just going to stick the light here, just coming across the body like that. Now, can I just check, are you able to see, have you got some idea of what I'm doing? Are you able to see what I'm up to with the setup? Let's put the trigger on there and retake the shot. And it's taken a while to come in, probably because the software is doing that. Right, that's not too bad. Quite like that, actually. on there with it. Obviously it needs more light to it, but the way it's picking out the detail I quite like. Could probably do with taking it up a couple more stops. I'm going to just move that back slightly, try and bring that in at a slightly different angle on there. Let's see what that now looks like. Dum 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 dum. A lot slower coming in. Oh yes, out of focus. Because I've been moving the figure around. Now, let's have a look. I'm having to work on manual focus with this. It's always better with macro to work manual focus anyway, but with this lens, the autofocus has now gone on it. So to actually help me with the focusing, I'm going to go into live view, and you won't be able to see this, but what I'm doing is I'm moving the zoom area. I'm going to zoom in, move up, and then I can tweak that focus on the face like that. There we go. Come out of live view, because if I don't come out of live view, the flash doesn't fire. So let's try that. Oh, and the flash didn't fire. Probably timed out. Yeah, it did. It fired that time. Right, yes, I like the lighting on there now. This is not the finished thing. There's a lot more to do with it. So I'm going to lower the camera so that I'm now shooting at the height of the figurine. And one of the things when you are working with tabletop figurines and things like that, it's always good to try and think of them as human subjects. Yes, even a Cyberman. And actually follow the same rules, which is come down to their level. Now, am I in focus? Let me zoom in. Actually, surprisingly, yes, I am. Final tweak on that. And now changing the angle on there as it comes through. Yeah, that's much better. Coming from low down. Right, Rick is saying worth flagging the light at the bottom to stop it lighting the floor part of the background. Yeah, I'm getting there, Rick. On that, there's more that's going on with the background because I've got another light to go in on that, which is going to be to actually light the background. So that's my next light. So I've got my trigger on there already, switch on, and I don't know whether you can see, I've got a blue, I'll hold it here, I've got a blue gel on that, and I'm going to put that over this side to just put some light onto the background. So again, it's just play some play at the moment, and let's see what we get. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, the original light didn't go off. Do that again. That's better. So you can see we're now starting to get something that's a bit more workable. Okay, framing is awful with it on there. I don't particularly like that framing. It's bang in the middle, not a good location for an image. So I've got two options. I can either go vertical with it, or I can move it over to one side in the frame. So I think what I'm going to do is see whether I can go vertical with this. Ooh. And this is where I find I need longer legs on the tripod, just slightly. Yep. Get live view to do the framing. Let's come out of live view. Live view is not playing today. Just trying to frame it up. Actually going to get the base in, I think, with the figure on here. I am centering it at the moment. I just want to see what the lighting looks like on the whole figure. So I think that's okay. And let's have a look. Did it come through? It's not come through. Why has it not come through? Oh, don't you just love technology? Disconnect. Something has broken. Every time the laptop beeps for USB notice, I think it's my PC, Rick. Haha. Power cycle the camera, Lightroom tether. Yeah, it's not so much the camera as having disconnected it. Lightroom doesn't seem to be playing. So let me just go down. See whether, right, file. Plug that back in. Oh, I hate it when it's right down here. Right, okay, we're in on there. Let's restart the tether. Stop tethered capture. File. Start tethered capture. Yes, okay. That's better. Send me an image. Except the flash didn't go off. Okay, do it again. One of those flashes has a very short timeout. Has a habit, if it hasn't been fired within a minute, of going to sleep. So, right. Okay, that's starting to look like what I'm after. Let's have a look at this. See whether I can get the zoom in on that and get the focus right. Zoom in again. I know you can't see it, but that's now critical focus. Take out. Right. That should be perfectly in focus this time on the face. Is that fresh? It's rebuilding it. That's not bad. It's perfectly in focus here. Now this is where we have the restriction on with macro photography, and this is the reason why I normally do focus stacking, because certain bits of it are really sharp, but others are just losing the focus a little bit on there. Now, I'm still not fully happy with the lighting on it. I'd like a little bit more in on this side just to fill in, which is where this light comes in. So let's get some power to it. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to put it right down to minimum on here to start with. Too many stands around here. Just bring it round like that. I suspect that might be just a little too bright, but the easiest way is just to try it and find out. Yeah, way too bright, and we haven't got that light that keeps timing out. Do that again. Yeah, that's looking good. I prefer the much darker background though. This is where we need to do some flagging. Now, I've got some card over here which I'm going to use for that. And if I do that, this is where I need multiple hands, but if I just hold that there, that should be sufficient to do it. Hopefully I've got that in the right place to give us a darker background. Helped a little bit, not all of it. It's coming in at the wrong angle really for that. Let's see. Okay. Try one more with it over here. How's that looking? We're getting there, I just haven't quite got it right yet. The right position, I think. Right up here. Almost there. So right. Let's see on here. That's the shadow is what it's seeing. I try up there like that. Got it? Yes. So now I've worked out the position I need that in. What I can do is, well, if I was going to do this as a focus stack, I'd now sort of clamp that into place on a stand. Let's see, have I got a stand to hand that I can use? Yes, I have. And over here. Whoa, what happened there? Let's see whether I can just clamp. I think the laws of physics are going to be against me on this one. But right, I'm going to need a stand on the other side as well. Right. This is where Rick's C-stands would probably come in much more handier than the stands I've got. But this is what you have to put up with when you're doing tabletop photography. You use what you've got available to you to achieve the desired result. So let's try something like that. And then I'm going to need a bigger bit of card. So what have we got? Black. Actually, that would do it. What I'm doing is I'm just putting a peg in there to rest it on. I'll go around and clamp it in a minute. Try it on the clamp. That's a little bit better. Bigger clamps needed. One more of my pegs in there, try and hold it on that. No, it's not holding. That's not going to be enough, I suspect. And wait the flash up. I bet I've got the background in. Yeah, the background's in there. Which is a shame because the whole thing looks good otherwise. Let's work out a way of getting that up. Another big clamp on the box. Right, let's have a look at that. So now, I've lost my focus because the figure's been moved. Hoping I bring this down, I should still be able to get some light underneath there. Did we have all the flashes going off? I can't tell. So it comes through. No, we didn't. Yes, no. Yeah, we're getting there. I just need to position the figure right. And use live view to get the focusing done. So how does that look? Tins of beans, good idea, Kev. Black image, right. I did take 2 shots there. I think it's only got the first one through. Let's try that again. Yeah. How's the focus on it? I'd be pretty happy with that as focus on there. I like the blue background with it. I like the moody lighting. There's just enough detail left in there. Looking at the histogram, I've got just a couple of little bits of specular highlight, so I can't really go any much brighter than that with it. So if I did drop the aperture down to, say, 7.1 and just try that, what would we get? We would get a flash that's timed out again. Come on, you can get there. Yeah, I think that's a little too bright on there. Let's see where specular highlights are now. Actually, not too bad. Not too bad. Personally, I think I prefer the slightly darker version. But that is nicely in focus. Now, if I wanted to do that focus stacked on there, what I would do is I'd have to put it on the focusing rails. Now, the only problem is, for a vertical image, those focusing rails aren't brilliant. So I think I can live with that. The face is in focus with it. The rest, it'd be nice to have the rear foot in focus, but I think I can live with that as a setup. Can I get the focusing rails on? That's going to be a nice little challenge if I can. Let's see. Focusing rails, right? How can I? For anyone who doesn't know, this is what they look like. You attach the camera on the top, actually that way around. Actually, well, I suppose it doesn't really matter. Because I don't use that, I tend to work with them this way, although I know lots of people will work with them that way. But I find it easier to work that way around. You can just use the wheel just to move in and out, move the camera in and out on there. So if I want to put the camera on that, I've got to, well, take it off here and change the plate over. Let's see how quickly I can do this. Dum, 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 dum. Talk amongst yourselves. Don't mind me. One day I'm going to buy myself a set of quick release plates to go with this set so that it becomes a lot easier to get it on here when I choose to use it. Lens that way. Screwdriver in there. So here is where the fun starts. I don't think I'm going to risk doing it on its side. I think that is just asking for trouble. So we've got the plate on there. Means, of course, now I need to drop the legs on the tripod again. To that height. Pull the camera back just a fraction. That's lined up. So now, right, this is going to be a little bit tricky to show. What I'm going to do, I'm going to reposition the camera that's the phone camera so that you can actually see the focusing rails rather than, it's not going to work. I told you this wasn't going to be slick. Okay. Hopefully that works for you, and you can see what's going on with the rails there. You'll see that the rail has got numbers on it, and the trick I do is I always start with the rails set at 9.5, which is there. Can you see that? I'm not sure, but the rails now at the very edge here, or here, is the numbers. So I set it at 9.5. I'm now going to frame up properly on that because I've realised I've moved it back a long way, and I'm focusing up. And what I'm aiming to focus on here is the bit of the figurine that's right at the front. So it's actually going to be the hand. So again, I'm going to go to live view, and I need to just tilt the thing down slightly. In fact, looking at some shadows on there, so push that back very slightly and refocus. Zoom in. Zoom in again and focus critically on that hand. Okay, done. Right, trigger, wake everything up. Now, why 9.5 on there? Well, the reason is that I'm going to move this through the depth of the figure, and 9.5 is just close enough to the end, but not being there. So I believe that's the front. So if I now go to 10, which means pulling the camera forward by 0.5 centimetre, I'm focusing just in front of that hand. Actually, I'll go back to 9.5 first and just confirm that when I take a shot with that, the hand is in focus. we go. Just that hand I'm interested in. So yeah, that's in critical focus. It doesn't matter about anything else on there. With that, that's all I want. So now go to that 10 position. So that's just that little bit in front of where we need it to be in the focusing. So now I can start doing my full sequence. But here's the trick. Before I do the sequence, I do one shot with a finger in there. Why do I do that? Well, that tells me that my next shot is the beginning of the sequence. So here we go. So I'll do the shot for real. Now I'm going to move the camera through the image, taking shots, effectively focus distance sliced the way through on there. So I'm now going to move back to 9.5 on it. Take another shot. 9. Take another shot. Why 0.5 centimetre? Well, the reason I go with 0.5 centimetre is, having checked the depth of field for this lens at f8, it should be just over 1 centimetre. So in theory I could get away with 1 centimetre, but I find there's a slight dip in the focus as I join the images together. At half a centimetre, then I know I've got plenty of sharpness at each band on the way through. I took that one, didn't I? And then, yeah, 9. So I'll take it again. I want to be on the safe side. 8.5. 8. 7.5. 7. 6.5. 6. 5.5. I hope these are all coming over. I can't tell. 5.5 I've done. 5. And then finally 4.5. I think that should be enough in terms of the distance going through. There shouldn't be anything further back than that. I got the latest one through on here. I zoom in on the plinth for it. Oh, it's still loading them in on there. It's taken a while to catch up with me. Yeah, this is my last one in the sequence, number 37. And that's the back edge of the plinth. I think that's in focus. I'm going to do one more just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to go to 4. That's that one. And then to finish, 2 fingers in. And then I know in the sequence, if I was doing a larger shot, I've got other images in there, I would know that that is the final image in the setup that I got on that. So yeah, we've definitely got enough on there. Right, so having got all my images, the next thing I need to do is to batch process those that I'm working on. So let me go over to full screen, grid, G. Just going to move, when it lets me, I'm going to move this bar out of the way. So it's up the top. So here we go. That's my set of images that I want. I'm going to P key to pick them. Right, while that's catching up with me, let me check the comments. Kev saying about bean tins to position his flags. Rick saying stop down a little. should be able to handle f14, f16. Yeah, I just happen to know that this lens is sharpest at f8, and the results I get at f8 are absolutely stunning in terms of sharpness. So that's why I'm working with that. Right, so they're all picked. I can use attribute flag. I'm just going to close down the tethering, I think, on there. So what I want to do now is choose effectively a mid image, go into the develop module, set auto sync. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop. That's the R key on here, and actually X will just invert the aspect ratio. So yeah, that will do nicely. I want to leave a little bit of space round it because of the stacking process on there. So that should be fine. That will have happened to all of them, which that was the crop I was trying to do. Oh, have I lost auto sync on there? Sync. Non crop. Synchronize. All right, that's getting that. It's just so slow when I'm streaming to run, so enable auto sync on this. Right, now, what do I want to do in terms of processing on it? Well, I would like to bring out the texture a bit more, so bring that up. By default, I add a little bit of clarity to my images. So on there. I don't want to do anything with the curves. I think there's just about enough detail in the shadow areas, but I would just bring it up slightly in here on the shadows, just a touch on there. I know one thing I will want to do. I'll want to do something with that background, and for those who are waiting for it, it will probably be a vignette. However, because I'm going to focus stack these in Photoshop, I don't want to do that at this stage, because it's going to be because that vignette will be in oh, excuse me, in different places to the for the image. So what I would normally do at this stage, once I'm happy with the processing on there, I would normally now go back to the library module, and I would actually say open, edit in Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop as layers in Photoshop. But I know that this machine with me broadcasting is probably just going to fall over if I try and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to output them as JPEGs and then open those as layers in Photoshop. So let me do it that way. It also means I can then close down Lightroom before going into Photoshop. So export. Oh, it's chugging along. I don't know why I was looking at the camera, because you can't see me, can you? Oh, it's not going into export. Go on. Go in there. Yeah, I think this is genuinely where my machine is really starting to struggle. So I am going to do, if I use well, it's one of my presets. I was saying it's one of my video presets. If I'm exporting something to go into video, it means it's not quite full resolution on there. Dum 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 dum. Oh, this is painfully slow. Right, we got there. No, we didn't, because it scrolled. Try that. And I don't want it to LR transporter. LR transporter is something completely different. It's basically allows me to output data with alongside the images as well, which I don't want. I just want to go to the hard drive. I'll do that. Choose folder afterwards. So export will prompt me for a folder. Come on. I need Terry is saying I need separate computer for OBS streaming and Lightroom Photoshop. No, I just need a better computer. I'm getting very close to buying one now on that. And oh, crumbs, I've just realized that. Why is that showing my hands on the camera when my hands are nowhere near the camera? They've not been on the camera for a long while. That is interesting. I think when I didn't have the camera on show, I don't know. That is weird. That is weird. I'm in two places at once. I don't know how that's happening. Right. Come on, export. Right, it's prompting me for a folder. I'll go to my Livestream. Impromptu. Create a new folder. Man. That is weird. Why is that image so far behind on there? Oh, let me select folder. Right. I wonder how long this is going to take to export. One iOS camera. Let's kill that off. There. And if I go to that, might be a little bit more useful. We can see up here that it's slowly crunching through the files. And I'm also getting an error message as well. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience open widget. It says. Yep, I think I'm breaking it. I think we're reaching the limits of what this machine can do. In fact, I don't even know if you're all still there. Am I just talking into thin air at the moment? Terry asking, before I exit Lightroom, can I show the X-Touch Mini? Hopefully I can. I'll do my best. I'll probably need to put that camera back to show that. while that's working, I'll try and move things around to be able to do that. Yeah. Oh, right. We're almost there on the on the edits, on the export, and it's done it. Right. Okay. So Terry was interested in the my little box. So try and get this pointing in the right direction, and then enable it for you guys to try and see what's going on. Right. Okay, so if I go back to that setup, re-enable the camera, which is still showing the wrong thing, it's still way behind on there. Right, okay. I'm going to unplug that. I'm going to restart the app on here, I think, and get this to go. Get rid of that. That's the camera back on here. I think over here, I edit that and say reconnect to device. I think we're going to have problems with this. The problem is, I've brought this down so you can see it, that it ain't coming through at all with it now. I think basically the problem is not a lack of power on this one. I think the laptop is just trying to do too much now, and I don't think it can cope, is my honest opinion. So I'm just going to try closing down as much as I can. Right, don't need SNAS anymore. Outlook, don't need Outlook. Do need that. I am going to need that as well. Right, what else can I get rid of? Not a lot, actually, with it. So, one last try, refresh the device on there. And no, it's not going to talk. Reconnect to device. Give it a last go. No, I'm sorry, Terry, but I'm not going to be able to show you the Behringer, other than there it is, which is even worse than I managed on Sunday with that. It's just one of those things that this poor laptop is not coping with this sort of workload. So I'm going to come out of here, try and get Photoshop open. Skip the backups. Right. So what I'm going to do is find the folder that has them in. So video, and live stream. Even this is slow now. I just get the feeling that it's not releasing all the memory as it should do once I've started working for a while on this. Right, CyberStack. Actually, I'll try doing this via Bridge, actually, because I can then say open. I'm just thinking the best way to actually stack them in, because I normally do it through Lightroom. Open Photoshop. They're going to come in as separate files if I just say open them all. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. I can see you're quite a way behind me on the stream as well on there. Thank you for bearing with us, folks. Yeah, Kev's saying that using his iPhone with OBS was very hit and miss. I found it was okay when it's the only camera. It just seems to struggle after that. Right, can I open a whole load as a stack? Photo merge. Hopefully it will allow me to do what I want to do. Right, so browse for the files. Okay. And what we want is blend images together, yep, and auto. So let's say OK and see whether it does it. This is doing it a slightly different way to how I would normally do such things. And I reckon this is going to take a long while to run, unfortunately. Oh, I am still live up there. I've also realised that doing it this way, it'll be interesting to see what it does, because normally you bring them in as layers and do an auto align before doing the merging. It'll be interesting to see what it does with it, doing it directly that way. It's certainly bringing them in faster than bringing in raw files. I don't think this machine at the moment would have coped with me trying to do it with raw files. Not while I'm streaming. Align selected layer. Oh, it is doing the alignment. This could take a little while. I've got now doing the blend. Wow. This is going a little bit quicker than I thought. I was expecting it to take a bit longer on this. We've still got spinning wheels down on the cursor. Right, oh, that's going on. Let me have a catch up on the things. Peter saying, did I use the computer for a long time before the live stream? Yes, I did. Oh, right, that's not done. That's not done a good stack, or has it? No, it's not, because looking at these, it's chosen that much from one image. I do it the Alt, that's the one. Yeah, that has not stacked them properly. So I delete the masks. Delete. I should be able to do that align. Delete. How appropriate, it's a Cyberman, and I'm going delete, delete. That's a joke for the Doctor Who fans. No, no, no. Click. This is just going so slow. Come on. Not even responding to the clicks. Yeah, delete. Another one. Delete. 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 Finally, delete. Okay, right. So we have got them all in here. Let's enable all the layers. Come on, machine. Do them manually. Right, and then right. Layer. This is the one I can never find it. I can never find the auto align layers. Never find it. Auto align layers. There we go. Auto align layers, and let's get that going. Now, this in theory is what it did earlier, but I didn't like the result it had given me. So by doing it as the normal steps, this is the way I'd normally do it, one at a time. And then we'll try the blend. And if it doesn't focus stack this time, I have no idea, because it always works in the past. Right, okay, it's done that. That's looking a bit more like it with the alignments. If I do, yeah, you see now as I sort of step through these, you can see that focus moving back through the statue, through the figurine on there. Right, I've got to enable them all now again. And then I can do the auto blend, which only goes to show, although this is supposed to be doing all the steps at the same time on there, it clearly doesn't. So edit, auto blend layers, stack images, which is what we want, seamless tones and colors, content aware fill for transparent areas, and away we go. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Right, how are we doing on the comments? Terry, no, I'm not using NDI on the phone. It's purely cabled on there. On that. Yeah, and Kev saying it was okay until he tried to broadcast. I have done broadcasts with the phone in the past, no problems, but then I haven't had the other camera going as well. I think it's probably more the computer. Yeah. Yeah, using NDI, it's so laggy, I believe. I didn't even want to try that. This is it's called OBS Camera. It's an app. It has worked well. I have live streamed from here a couple of times actually with it in the early days when things before I had the setup done properly, and I've live streamed an entire church service using it, and part of a church service using it as well. So I know it normally works. It's just with Lightroom and everything else that I've got enabled on here. And yes, I deliberately did have everything connected because I wanted to see if it would break on there. Right, we're getting there. Seamless composition now. We're over halfway through. Come on, I want to see this. Come on, you can do it, Photoshop. Doing the filling in. Oh, we've got the view down here. Yes, yes, yes. That is spot on. I'm at 200% there. Remember, I'm using a slightly lower resolution file because I was trying to speed this up for you. But you can see on there how absolute. We've got one little bit that I didn't quite get right on there with it. But other than that, just about everything is absolutely spot on with it. The entire plinth. Ooh, should have dusted it first. But good enough for a little online demo on there. So that's the sort of technique, folks, on how you do these sort of stackings and things. Oh, that wasn't what I was trying to do. Never mind. What I was trying to do was drag down on that window. Move the Cyberman over a little bit, then I'll make myself just a little bit bigger before I finish off. There we go. Right. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up at this point. I just want to say thanks, folks, for watching. The fact that I've had, well, at the moment, anything between 12 and 10 people watching is considerably more than I thought I was going to get for something that's impromptu like this. So thanks for bearing with it. It's been a useful exercise from my point of view. Oh, I see what I've just done. I've dragged one of the layers. That's not going to help matters. Oh no, it's the merged layer. Right, yes, just to say it does merge all onto one layer on there. I was thinking that looked a bit odd. So yeah, thanks for bearing with me. What I think I've proved is that for short periods of time, early on in a live stream, I can probably get away with using the camera on there. I really can't use Photoshop coming in from Lightroom. I can barely use Lightroom for anything other than edits with everything else connected. So I think the answer, the conclusion is buy a new laptop for me. Well, thanks anyway, folks. Hope you perhaps found it interesting. I know it's stuff I've talked about before, but presenting it in a slightly different way on there. Thank you, folks, and I'm going to sign off at this point. As ever, until next time, keep making great images. Bye for now, folks.